Hello and welcome to this series. In this series we're talking about how to start a business, and we're on chapter 2 now, part 2. So if you haven't looked at part 1 yet, do make sure you go over to that one first. But part 2 is all about that business plan. How, why and what it's all about. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Patrick. I'm a chartered accountant, certified UK trainer for Intuit and also that QuickBooks Chap. As head of accounts here at Boffix, one of the things we get asked a lot is how do we start business, and we are really proud of the amount of businesses that we've been able to help nurture, help grow, and as you know our motto, it's all making sure that our business not just survive but thrive. But how and why? Well, it's about their preparation. It's about making sure that they get the best possible start. And for anyone out there looking to do their own business, it's really important that you do it in the right way to give you the best opportunity. We all know the stats and statistics and how grim and how bad it looks when it comes to looking at startups and the opportunities and the fact that how many fail. But I can assure you, if you plan everything right and you look everything in the right way, majority of the time you're going to have a really good opportunity, but to make sure that you have the best business idea and have the best opportunity to make sure that that thrives. And one of those key parts is a business plan. Now, I'm not talking about going out there and writing this massive long essay and loads and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of content. I'm talking about a business plan for you, and all it really needs to be is one page. And think about that business plan as a roadmap. Think about it as you basically getting all those wonderful ideas you've got in your head and putting them on a piece of paper or on an Excel spreadsheet or however you want to put your business plan together. But the idea of you taking that idea, putting it on paper, gives you a chance to expand on those ideas and gives you a chance to consider and also keep going back and forth and using that as a roadmap. It's going to keep you on course, and it's going to make you think of stuff that you may not have thought about at this point in time. And it's a really good opportunity to think about if this business has the legs that you need it to have to make it worthwhile for putting all of the effort that's going to be involved in starting up a new business. So let's have a look at a way in which you can make sure that you make a kick-ass business plan that is as lean as it needs to be, so that you're not wasting the time and wasting the energy, and you're actually putting meaningfulness into that plan. Let's have a look at it. We're going to be concentrating on what we would call the lean one-page plan, which is the idea of making sure that your business ideas are put down and put into place. Now, you can go about making more formal plans, and in some circumstances you'll be forced to do that when looking at trying to get more investment or borrowings, or you're trying to convince other parties that your business is worthwhile in putting money into it. But for now, let's talk about that more lean one-page plan. So how do you do a fast one-page business plan? Well, the key to a one-page plan is to start it out simple and then grow as you go. And the only way you're going to be able to achieve that is by making it so that you will keep referring back to this plan on a regular basis. You can begin with a few headings and some small bullet points, mapping out your visions, goals, milestones, and some really simple bullet points, mapping out your vision, goals, milestones, and financial forecast. Things will keep changing, so you'll get new information that's going to come along, and then you just need to adapt your business plan accordingly. Keep it what I would call a living document. So here's some sections to consider. Value proposition. Make sure your reader understands the unique value you provide in a few clear, simple sentences. Cut the jargon and fluff and just get to the point. If you're in a position where you're trying to sell your product or sell your idea or sell your business to an investor or whoever it's going to be, or to a potential customer, you need to be able to do it sharp and snappy. There's a lot of times when we just get 30 seconds to give our business opportunity out there. It might be in a networking event or whatever it's going to be. And you need to be able to, at that point, explain who you are and what your business does in those few seconds, because that can make or break a potential deal later down the line. Make sure the next heading is the problem you're solving. Expand on the problem that you're solving. Imagine that you're talking to someone who's never heard your idea before. What is it about your solution that hasn't been done well before? Give them a reason to be interested in your business. Next one, target market and competition. Who are you selling to, and what other choices do they have? How are they going to serve them better? This is where you need to show you've done some market research. Next one, sales and marketing. How will people learn about you? Will you use social media? Do your customers read trade publications, or do you sell to them in person? Figure out where your target audience is and go there. And make sure that you keep reviewing this. We've seen time and time again how business ideas have evolved, but their marketing, their social platforms and everything else hasn't evolved with them. So they've invested time and effort in a particular way of marketing, but as their product has grown and matured and gone into new things and changed, and make sure that your marketing's changing with it. Budget and sales. Do some forecasts and sales and outgoings. Do some forecasts. Sales versus outgoing. What will your margin be on each sale? Will it be enough? How many sales will you need to make profit? Use these figures to define success. And it doesn't have to be the world's greatest spreadsheet or the greatest thing. Keep it nice and simple at this point. But make sure that the numbers stack up. Make sure that you've got an opportunity. What I always like to do as well is I like to put it into, well, what work does that relate to? Yes, I may need to sell X amount to be able to get myself to a break-even point or whatever my calculation is going to be. But what does X amount actually mean? Is that 5 sales a day? Is that 100 sales a day? Make sure you can define and understand what those figures are. Don't just have them as numbers that have no meaning, but try and relate them to what your business is. Milestones. Milestones will help you keep an eye on the big picture. For each milestone, say why it's important, note what or who you need to make it happen, and put a due date on it. This helps break everything you need to do down into manageable pieces. When you get yourself into that first 10 customers, have a milestone for it. 100 customers, have a milestone for it. Give yourself an opportunity to be able to look and reflect and use that as an opportunity to not only reward yourself for great work, but gives you an opportunity to think about, has it all been done? Has it all been done in the right way? And have you got an opportunity to refine how you're doing? The team. Who's part of your team and why? Write a couple of lines for each person, including their goals and responsibilities. Do this even for the roles you haven't yet filled. So if you know you're going to have to employ someone at some point and you're going to need to bring those in, make sure you've got that role defined at the beginning. That way, you know that you're going to be able to make sure that when you do bring people on, that they're going to know exactly what it is that's expected of them. That's going to make your recruitment process easier and also going to mean that you're going to be able to set goals for them and be able to make it so that they can feel like they're contributing. Funding. Identify how much you need or already have and what it's for. When will repayments be made and when do you expect to have it paid back? Really important one here. Have those funding insight at the beginning. Make sure you understand exactly what's needed and at what point. And try and think of a run rate as well. How much money or how long is this business going to be able to be sustainable for until we're going to have to look at more funding options later down the line. Knowing that further down the line and at earliest possible date makes it so much easier for you to obtain that funding. And also obtain funding that's right for your business. Time and time again, we've seen businesses who rightly so needed additional funding and they're doing it for the right reasons and they're doing it because their business needs it. But just remember that finding the right type of investment is also crucial. Making sure it costs the amount that it needs to cost and not having to quickly go down a route where it's the quickest way of doing it. Because sometimes the quickest way to funding is sometimes the most expensive, and that could cause ramifications later down the line. We'll make sure there's examples down the bottom here of what a one-page business plan can look like. And again, keep it simple, keep it straightforward. And for some businesses, one page is more than enough, and some great businesses out there started on one page. As long as you evaluate it and keep going back to it and referring to it and evolve with it over time, you'll find that that's all that you need to make sure that you're on the right track to begin with. And one of my favorite examples of how to start is the SWOT analysis. SWOT, it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. And if you can start thinking about putting that into every one of those examples and start thinking about the internal factors, which is your strength and weakness, versus your external factors, which are your opportunity and threats, gives you an answer and opportunity to think about it. So for strengths, what do you do well? What do you do better than others? Whereas weaknesses, you're thinking about what don't you do as well as you'd like, and what does your competitor do better than you? And we're talking about external factors. From opportunities, what are the business goals that you're working towards? What else can you offer for existing customers and clients? Whereas the threats would be thinking of along the lines of what obstacles do you face and what are the strengths of your biggest competitors? When you do your SWOT analysis, you're likely to have uncovered some new strategies, goals and things to work on. There'll be something to do in each of those SWOT analysis. So for strengths, how will you build on them? For weaknesses, which one are the most glaring? For opportunities, set some goals for each of those opportunities. Make it so that you've got it manageable. And then threats, use that as an opportunity to look at those weaknesses in more detail, because normally they come hand in hand. And use them as an opportunity to think about exactly which of those weaknesses is most crucial to your business idea. Finally, make sure you avoid some really common business planning mistakes. Really think about how much money you need to get that business started. So really understand how much money it is going to need for those business to get started. Make sure in that business plan you're budgeting for that first thing. Think about that run rate again. Really consider that run rate. It's going to be crucial to how long your business is going to be able to survive without having to worry about the next form of investment. Try not to heavily rely on 2 customers or 2 suppliers. Try and make sure that you've got an opportunity to diversify as much as you can, just in case anything was to go south with either of those customers or suppliers. And make sure in that business plan you do think about some form of contingency if you can. Think about what you will do if some of the worst things were to happen, i.e. the COVID that's happened. Try and think about what opportunities you have. You may not have all the answers at that point, but think about where you will go and what you'll do to make that work for you. And that's it. Hopefully you got yourself a nice business plan, or at least thinking about putting a business plan together. Don't forget, here at Boffix, we can help you with that business plan if that's going to help you in any way. But remember, the business plan is really for you. The most important person who's ever going to read that business plan is yourself. So make sure that you're putting it down to what your business plan needs. Yeah, definitely make sure that other people can look at it and get some information and get some feedback on it, and try and pass it around to as many people who you think are going to be beneficial from reading that as much as possible. But the most important person who will ever read it again is you. So make sure you're reading it, you're reviewing it, and you look at expanding it as time goes by. My name's been Aaron Patrick. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this video for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember that this particular series is exactly that. It's a series. We've done number 1, we're on to number 2, and guess what? Number 3 is coming your way. So subscribe to the channel to make sure that you get the next available of this series, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.
I told him I can be a fighter if you want. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. I can make it brighter when it's dark, I told him I would do it all for you, and I know you do it for me too. I can be a fighter if you want, I can be a fighter. I can be a fighter if you want. I can be a fighter if you want. All the way that I feel, yeah, I know that it's real, cause I can get him out of my head. I don't care what we do, everything's feeling new. Even if we stay in bed, my heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. You know I want him, nah, 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 nah. My heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah.
Hello and thank you for watching that video. What you may not know is this channel that you've watched this video from is part of a wider group. That wider group is called Apple Core Productions, and the 3 channels that we have involved are as follows: Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks Chap, Boffix Tax Tip. Finally, we have Apple Core Live and Geeky. All the links and everything are down below in the description, but it really means a lot to us if you can go and give a like to the other channels as well.